their experiences. Gigi, what do you make of that?
I think it's important to understand that these conversations, saying MeToo publicly, are extremely difficult. The stories that we have heard are stories from women that, have felt enough to be able to articulate those in public. And there are millions of women. In fact, I do not know a single woman of color that has not been harassed or assaulted. I have not. And so for people that have come out, there is privilege in that. There is people that feel that they can do it, that they have the access, they have the platform, like all of us are here, right? When you think about women of color also being more likely to be in low-wage occupations, right? The risk of those women to come out, physically, emotionally, economically, it's huge. Let's remember that 3/4 of all accusations of harassment include retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I completely agree with that.
Yolanda, let's go beyond Hollywood and the celebrities and some of the names that we hear. But Gigi brings up a point in terms of women of marginalized communities, women who fear because they may be the financial winner in the household. As a woman of color, have you had these conversations with other women of color who won't come forward?
Think about it. The hashtag was originated by a black female. So that conversation happened 10 years ago, and it's been suppressed all of this time. It's been pushed into, in the social realm, safe spaces. The conversation has only been taking place in safe spaces because we've been to the mountaintop, we've seen the promised land, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. People are at risk. But when the judge said the pendulum went past the law, when it went to social media, that's when it went past the law. Because a lot of times when we see something in traditional media, that's when lawmakers can then go under the gold dome with that. And they have not figured out how to advocate for those when these stories are in social media. When we can get the lawmakers to take all of this great data, these hashtags, the tweets, and the people behind the tweets, and take them with the same passion under the gold dome and get the laws, then that's when I think we're going to start to see the results.
I think that's right. I think there is some fear, I know because I've talked to judges and lawmakers that once it got bled into social media and CNN and all this, that that there was a lack of trust. I've talked to many women who feel like, God, this has gone too far. It's me too, me, everybody, me, everywhere, everything. And so there is out there. And I don't think these people necessarily, the folks who feel like this think this isn't a legitimate concern, but just this cannot become a witch hunt. And so it cannot it's not going to be, change is not going to happen if this becomes the Salem witch hunt. It has to be done properly.
Are you saying we need to find the right face? I think that's what we're talking about.
The right face, and we have to make sure that processes are in place. And they can't just be somebody making an accusation. This country is at least used to be a democracy about process and not about tweets and whatever somebody just has to say. It's always been about process.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because can I just add to the witch hunt? Because in the witch hunt part of that, let's not forget that the hunter is still out there.
There's no question about that.
But when the Aziz Ansari story came, it's almost like the guys were like, we got one, this one is not going to be legitimate. And if we make this case illegitimate, then that's going to legitimize all the rest of them, and we're going to be okay. Because they know if they find one that's a little bit suspect, it's going to discount all the other women. And what we have not done in the movement is find the right one.
I agree with you, Yolanda, and I also think that, those are distractions, right? We get distracted so easily. We cannot forget that we are talking about power, an imbalance of power, and violence, because this is violence against women predominantly.
Teresa?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've operated my whole career in the sports space, right? And so the amount of excuses that have taken place because people are great athletes or they're in positions of power, and a lot of adults have looked the other way. And I think that as individuals, we all have responsibilities, and I've watched it across the country. And it's time for adults to step up and do the right things to protect the kids and to protect everybody that's in process.
There was a lot of conversation about the role of women who might have been in leadership roles or powerful women, so to speak. I'm going to stick with Hollywood for a moment. women who might have known or should have known or who knew and didn't say anything for these years. When we talk about accountability, should they come out and hold other women accountable?
Of course they should.
Right.
Yes.
But, you know, they're part victims too. And, you know, I know a lot of women who just think, mostly older women, who believe this is just how the way the world works, which is crazy because, you know, but Rose, not everybody breaks everything down, right? This is just this is the way the world works. I was told that 1,000 times growing up with respect to the race thing. This is just how the world works, and if you want to make it, you have to play this kind